Hi everyone, welcome to Sports Kabri with me, Radhi and Rishi. Boys, the IPL auction's done and dusted. It's time to break down how the teams are looking, possible starting 11s, and all of that. Just off the bat, we're gonna, as you can see in the title, we're looking to break down the Royal Challengers Bangalore and Gujarat Titans today. First up, RCB. How Adi, like coming to you, bro? Like just because RCB fan and all that. How do you think they did this auction?
Um, uh, it's mixed feelings. I feel like because firstly, like losing a lot of our old players. For me, it's been kind of like, because like the mood our old players created was something nice and special. I really would have liked if RCB retained some of their old core, even if not the top players like your Faf, Maxi, because understandably because of their, age, their form. But there were other players where we could have, pushed on and kept at least, players like Manipal Lomror, who was very pivotal last year for us to get into the playoffs, right? So I really hoped they kept a couple of players from those kind of caliber, if not, you know, our top players. And also feel like overall we have built a decent starting 11, but apart from that 11-12 core, it does look pretty weak and very bare out there. So overall, I feel like historically I've read a lot on Twitter and like these people saying historically we go for big players and this time we've gone for a more balanced lineup, better, deeper bowling lineup. But I still feel like with the amount of scouting we've done or with the amount of uh, the way we attacked for local players or Indian players, I think it was still very weak. I really didn't push for any Indian players overall, apart from like when it comes to uncapped players, apart from one or two players, we bid for them, but we really didn't push for them. I feel like we could have done more in that perspective because again, I feel like the foreign buys were pretty solid. But coming to the Indian buys, apart from your Krunal Pandya, I don't think we pushed for any other Indian player that strongly, right? And again, as I said, 12 players, fair enough, it looks pretty decent. But outside those 12 players, I still think we lack Indian players. There were a lot of value Indian players out there where we could have pushed, likes of Deepak Hooda, just experience. I would have liked more experience, even with the players that didn't get bought. I would have liked a guy like Mayank Agarwal over like spending 2 crores on Devdutt particular. I just think that was a waste of money overall. I really don't understand what was the idea behind Devdutt, even in a guy who's been struggling in IPL for so long, hasn't performed for India also. Spending two crores is a lot of money. You could have got Agarwal for a cheaper price, who is experienced, who plays cricket regularly and is much, much better. So I feel like weird decisions were made, but overall, have to cope with what they've done. Like just have to sit and support them, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Just quickly on the squad. This is what the team looks like. Batters Rajat Patidar, Virat Kohli, Liam Livingston. Amongst the new names, Phil Salt, Jitesh Sharma, Tim David, Devdutt Padikkal, like Adi mentioned, and Swastik Chikara. Your all-rounders, Akrunal Pandya, Swapnil Singh, Romario Shepherd, Manoj Bandege, Jacob Bethel, and Mohit Rati. You're assuming that Salt is going to keep wickets. And finally, with the bowlers, Josh Hazlewood, Rasik Dhar, Suya Sharma, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Nuwan Tushara, Lungi Ingidi, Abhinandan Singh, and Yash Dayal. Rishi, bro, like, yeah, just what do you think, bro? Like, from the squad, I mean, of course, the three retainees are going to play. It's it's clear. It's Virat. You've got Rajat Patidar, Yash Dayal. It's sorted. You're assuming Phil Salt is going to slot in and Rajat Patidar. The four guaranteed. You know they're going to play. Who else are nailed on like players for you to be playing in this team?
I think you can make 11 pretty, like you can make safe bets on like the 11 that are pretty much going to play, right? Like I feel Liam Livingston, Phil Salt, Tim David. I think you're like for the like if you're gonna play two pacers, two foreign pacers, then you're gonna have to sacrifice one of your like all round like your batsman in Tim David or Liam Livingston. But otherwise, I feel it's a pretty set team. Like you have talents like your Jacob Bethel, you have players like Romario Shepherd who can come in and contribute. So I feel this is a pretty balanced side. Like, of course, you have good players. You have I feel like like RCB have moved away from their tradition of spending big on a certain one or two players and then having to fill gaps or like fill holes. I feel this is a much more balanced side, a much more serious side. Like from the way RCB was like were approaching players, like I was feeling a little bit I was feeling okay. This time you have to take them seriously, like because they have the players for it. Like you have Josh Hazelwood who can come in and hit the line and length consistently. You have like Nuwan Tushara who previously played for Mumbai Indians, who was quite good, like at nailing his Yorkers, and you have experienced players like Bhuvaneshwar Kumar who's still on top of his game. And then I feel one of the main buys this time is Krunal Pandya. Like of course he might not be like the most aesthetic player, but I feel Kunal Pandya for this RCB side makes a lot of sense. Like he's going to come in and bowl the kind of like middle 4 overs that Glenn Maxwell used to give, not toss up the ball a lot. Like previously, you used to see what was happening to bowlers who were tossing it up a lot. I'm not talking about Chahal, but any other spinners who were tossing it up a lot, they were going for big runs. You had your Negi, you had a lot of other spinners, but I feel Kunal. That's why Kunal Pandya comes clutch. Like your left arm, he's gonna come, he's gonna keep it flat, and yeah, he's gonna give a left arm batting option as well. So I think Krunal Pandya, like purchase of Krunal Pandya is like goes really under the radar. I feel he's gonna, of course, like it might not be the popular opinion among RCB fans, but I feel he's gonna come clutch at like some point in the season for sure.
Bro, I think so too. I think Ronald Pandya is a wonderful buy. I think someone who will not be talked about a lot, but he'll go quietly about his business. He's going to bowl 3-4 overs almost every game, and yeah, he's not going to concede a lot of runs. So yeah, I think great buy. Just in terms of 11, I was just thinking of like the RCB 11. It looks like most people are in consensus with what the 11 is going to look like, but I just think there are a couple of things that you can have conversations about. Salt and Kohli are going to open at the top. Likely that Rajat Patidar will bat at 3, Livingston at 4. You have David and Jitesh Sharma at 5 and 6. So that's a packed top 6. Um, Krunal at 7 if you need him. And then you've got the bowlers, right? You've got Yash Dayal, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. You've got Surya
Hazelwood.
Sharma for some leg spin and Josh Hazelwood. So it's 11 that almost seems like, yeah, they will play every game. But is there a conversation to be had about Jacob Bethel playing for RCB, especially given the role he plays for England? Can he play at number 3 for RCB, allowing Patidar to play at 4, and then you probably don't need, say, a Tim David? Would you guys entertain like something like that? Because I think that's a great option for RCB to have Jacob Bethel there to allow it to sort of slot in at number 3 and play for RCB at that in that position. And again, he's going to give you that different option, like, so it's one of those interesting ones. Adi, would you see Jacob Bethel batting at 3?
I mean, I would just push that just to not watch, Devdutt batting for us anyways, because I think, again, as I said, like, I can be as vocal as I want. Like, I really don't see the point of pushing and not pushing, like, just bidding for him at that point of time. I think that was the biggest miss of RCB this season.
You're on mute. Da.
Oh my days, my bad. Yeah, anyways, as I was saying, I think, you know, the little I've seen of Jacob Bethel, I would push that over, having Devdutt back. Because Devdutt is a guy who's been inconsistent all the times he's given a chance. Like, I think he's a player who's been given plenty of chances more than any other young player does get chances, you know. And for the chances he's been given, I think still not been performing. It's been like 3 years since he's played for it. Played in IPL, he's played for India also. I think I've seen enough to be like, I don't see what is the value of putting 2 crores into a player. Now you're getting Devdutt in. Are you going to develop him? What was the reason behind even bidding 2 crores? I would have
I
rather
don't think
used that money
I don't
and
think he's going
gotten
to get a
Faf back.
game.
Sorry.
I don't think he's going to play a game.
The point is, if not anyone, we need to use him just for the fact that, see, we don't have our batting middle order is set, but we don't have a number three. And you could see RCB going into the day to auction, pushing hard for Nitish Rana. I think they wanted a left hand option at number three, and we didn't get him. And then is why they really pushed for Bethel. I hope he's the one who's going to start playing for us overall. But the point is, again, we'll have to see more from Bethel to be like, okay, this guy can come in and play. For me, the best part of this bias, we have players like Salt, Livingston, you know, who are playing with Bethel for England. So I think they can complement each other better in that sense. And again, when it comes to the middle order, I think having Patidar number 4, Livingstone number 5, Jitesh number 6. I think I would rather have Jitesh number 6 than Tim David coming. And I think again, weirdly a waste buy in my opinion. I just don't think we really needed Tim David there.
No,
If
but we
we really
needed
wanted to
somebody. No, we needed another middle order bat, like somebody to fill in the top six. So we needed one more foreign player. Obviously, we didn't get anybody else.
No, my point is if you're playing number 3 battle, you have players till number 7 anyways, because you have Krunal Pandya
Yeah,
coming at
but
number
I think at the time that they bought David, Bethel was not in the team, and that's why they went.
No,
They bought.
Bethel was before David. Tim David was in the end. And then they got Will
So Tim
Jacks.
David was in the end, but I don't think they bought Bethel before they bought Tim David.
We bought Bethel before we bought, because it was Bethel, then we got Tim David, then we got Jacks. And also the point is, again, going into this thing, we didn't need to go for Tim David. I think, again, looking at the 2 days with RCB coming in with the second most amount of money, you could have used the money better, gone for another all-rounder, someone like Marco Janssen, if you really wanted a finisher and an all-rounder. I think with Janssen, he's like a two-edged sword. He can finish it if you want in the end, because he has the power to hit sixes. Plus, also he's a guy who can ball and ball even with the new ball. I think if RCB really wanted a finisher, there were better options there to go for finishers. And also, I think like there were better Indian options for finishers. I think just for this, like Tim David, you can't just keep him for a finishing spot. And as a foreign player, it's just too much of a downside in my opinion, because you only get 4 foreign players. Like using Tim David, who's going to face maybe maximum 10 balls, I really don't think there is any upside to that. I would rather have Krunal Pandya coming in the end if we have to have a player for finishing role. And
No,
I think
I like.
Jitesh.
Bro, I don't agree at all. I think like RCB needed one more batter in that middle order, low middle order, who's going to be that explosive player, because you didn't know whether Livingston was going to bat at 4 or
But
5.
my point is, you want to talk about explosive players. We already have a lot of explosiveness in the entire team. You don't need another
So
explosive
the
player,
way
Tim David,
T20
who's been
cricket is played
underperforming
You
today,
in
need
like,
IPL.
someone. You need
but
someone
today that's
coming
what
in
he's doing.
and scoring big at towards the end of the innings. No,
Rishi,
you
that's
can't
what
have
Jitesh
someone.
Sharma has been doing. If you want to
He
talk
will
about
do that.
finishing,
Jitesh Sharma will do that.
and then you
You
have
just need
Living.
that extra
If you
firepower. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
then you have
option.
Liam Livingstone, who is another big hitter. Why do you need to get Tim David after that also?
Because who's your fourth foreigner then? Where would you play a fourth?
Bethel, that's what I'm saying. I'd rather have Bethel number
No, that's
3.
what I'm saying. Bethel was not bought at the time David was bought.
No, Bethel
David,
was bought
I,
before Tim
I
David.
just, Adi, I just checked. David came before Bethel. And at the time, RCB didn't know that they would have the option of Bethel. Now that you have Bethel, you can say, okay, fine. You might not want to play Tim David. You
Okay,
want to play Bethel.
firstly, they would have known that Bethel's an option because the teams are the one who put shortlist players out there.
Yeah,
So
but
obviously,
still,
RCB
it
would have
doesn't mean
put
you're going to
Bethel
get
out
him.
there.
But it doesn't mean you're
Huh?
going to get him. There's no guarantee you will get him.
What do you mean? If you've
What do you
shortlisted
mean?
certain players, you're
Yeah,
going to
so
get
that's
them.
because Dinesh Karthik came out and said like they wanted Mohammad Siraj.
Now, my point is, right now we have the
Just
squad.
because you
Like with the
shortlist a
squad we have,
player and you put him in the auction doesn't mean you're going to get him. There's no
no, my
guarantee.
point is right now, if you have the squad with right now, We have a player like Bethel. Now we don't have to sit and think how are we going to fit in Tim David, who's again underperformed for Australia, underperformed for Mumbai Indians, underperformed for RCB, underperformed right now even in the local T20 leagues. He's not played well even in the league in US. He's not played well. He's not currently playing well for the T10 league in Abu Dhabi, where he literally got duck out yesterday, like if I'm not wrong, or was scored 1 run. So my point is, this guy is a guy who's not played at all well. So where is the point of saying this guy's a power hitter, is a finishing hitter? He's
Bro,
proven he's not
see,
really
the
done
thing,
that consistently enough, and you're
the
wasting a
only
foreign.
thing with yeah. No, the only thing is no, you're not wasting a foreign spot because
Yes,
he's
you
just an
are.
extra option. If
He's an
with
extra option,
Bethel,
but if you're talking about finishing spot, I'd rather have Bethel. I would rather have Ritesh Sharma. We also got Romario Shepherd. I'd rather have him over like uh, what do you say, Tim David, because Romario has done much more in T20 cricket. He's done much more in for West Indies. He's done much more for Mumbai. Also, he can also be a bowling option. I'd rather go for him as a finisher.
you're saying you
So I
trust
think
Romario Shepherd over Tim David.
Rahul, yeah, for sure. Because Romario Shepherd has actually performed for Mumbai Indians. He's
I
actually
don't.
performed
I don't.
for West Indies. Like, show me when Tim David last performed. Like, can you please tell me where he's performed well?
I
Like,
just as
Last
see,
year
bro.
versus Lucknow, he hit 40 something in no, he hit 30 something in some 15 something balls. I remember him hitting
bro, did he
40.
win the game? Did he win that game?
No, I'm saying he can do the job.
Bro, everyone can do. Rishi Jitesh Sharma has the highest strike rate in the
No,
death
bro. No, why
overs.
is Jitesh Sharma in this conversation? Jitesh Sharma is hands down going to be RCB's finisher. Nobody's doubting that. But if you want
Why do
extra
you want,
firepower,
bro? Why do you
Point
want
is,
four
point is
finishers, Rahul?
can
My point is,
it's
don't
not
you
about
realize
having
that you
four
also give
finishers. Today, the way T20 cricket is played, you need to have as much firepower as you can. There's nothing
Rahul,
else
you're
to it.
talking about firepower, but again, you're talking about firepower, and then you're talking about Tim David, who's not that guy. Like, that's my point. If you're talking about someone like David Miller, someone who's actually performed, fair enough, I can back that statement.
Bro,
But a guy like
again,
Tim
okay,
David,
you're
who's
saying
not
he
done
didn't
enough,
perform. Tim David batting at number 6 for Mumbai Indians averages 30 and has a strike rate of
last season, what
160.
was his average? Please tell
That's what
me.
I'm saying. It is 30,
His
30
average
for
was not
Mumbai.
30 last season.
It is. I'm in front of my face.
Adi,
How many
he
runs
hit
did he
some
score last
40, 20 against Delhi Capitals also.
30 runs,
He
30
hasn't been
average, bro.
consistent.
And he's
Of course, he's not
158.
coming in and playing like scoring big runs consistently, but from what I watched him last season, he was definitely better than Romario Shepherd. Romario Shepherd came in and had
Bro,
one good
Romario
innings.
Shepherd is not a batter.
Okay?
You can't
He
bank
came
on
in
But my
Romario
point
Shepherd
is,
to
he gives
score you
you
runs.
both
once.
batting and bowling.
We don't need more bowling. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, we already have the 5 bowlers. You have Livingston. If you want to go to him, you can go to him. If Jacob Bethel plays, you can go to Jacob Bethel. If Jacob Bethel doesn't play, Tim
Yeah,
David
that's
plays.
my
You can
point. If
bowl.
you're talking about
Tim
the
David can
fact,
bowl 1 or 2 overs. Like, so that's my. You have 7 bowlers. You don't need more bowlers. How
bro,
many
but
more
my
do you need?
point is we're wasting a foreigner on Tim David. I just don't think there is a need to
No,
push in Tim David into
I
this
don't think
team.
Tim David should be starting. I think RCB should play Jacob Bethel because he gives you that left-handed option.
And that was my
And it's
entire
a point.
that was my entire
Yeah,
point of this conversation.
I
We didn't
agree.
even have to
I no,
push.
but I am saying at the time that they bought Tim David, it was not a bad buy because we didn't have Bethel and we needed
Oh,
another left-handed option.
bro, there were better options, Rahul. That's what the point of an auction is. There were better, cheaper options out there to buy than Tim David. Like we could go for Rutherford if we really wanted. There were much better options out there. Like we can't sit and say
Okay,
Tim
I'll give
David
you this.
was.
Post Tim David finishers. Like I'm talking about finishers who came in after Tim David. You're saying Romario Shepherd. I don't think he's a good enough batter. But
Rahul,
then
again,
okay,
if you want to talk
bro, then
about
he's
it,
not.
it's a
I'm
two-day
just going
auction.
through the list. Adi, I'm just going through the list. Like I don't see one finisher here. Foreign finisher. Nobody.
Again, I'm
Like
coming back to the statement of using a foreign card on a finisher just doesn't make that much sense until and unless he's one of the best finishers in the world. You look at any other team, can you sit and tell me that their top four foreigners, one is just a finisher spot? Like, tell me one team.
yeah,
Every other team has
KKR,
players who
Andre
can.
Russell.
Huh?
KKR and Andre Russell.
Bro, Russell's just not a finisher. He's a player who can also ball, Rahul. That's my point. You're only banking on Tim David for 10, 15 balls. It doesn't make sense. You're wasting a foreign spot. Foreign spot is just four. You don't have unlimited spots.
No,
Tell me
I,
any other
I
team.
think I think Bethel should play like regardless.
See, whatever it is, my point is at the end of the day, spending money on players when you need to fill other gaps. I think that's where we went wrong. Again, we come back to it. We spent a lot of money where we didn't have to. Going back to DDP, we didn't have to go buy that because
I
right
don't think
now
he was the
it's
necessary buy. Like,
no.
I
My
think the
point is
only
whatever squad we built. If, for example, Salt cannot play or is not performing well, we don't have another opener right now. We don't have an option for number three. Like maybe Patridar comes. If Patridar comes, then their entire batting lineup, the balance goes away. The thing is, the only good thing is we have explosive players. We have floaters. Like I feel like everyone can float between any position after like apart from the openers. I think Patridar can come from number three to number four. Livingston can play number four, number five. Jitesh also I feel like can play number three, number four, number five if it's needed. That's the good part. But I think squad depth, looking at other teams, we don't have that Indian squad core as the Indian core depth. Like, for example, our one of our batsmen is not available. Well, who's the next option? We don't have an option. Example, like Jitesh Sharma is not there. Our batting is done. We're literally done. Like that. That was my only issue with the way India actually built the squad. They built a 12-player squad, and that's it. Like the rest, we don't have any other Indian core who can come and supplement the players, and that's my big issue with the way
again,
we
like
built
for
it.
me, like the way I see the IPL, if you have 11 guys you can trust and you have the 11, 12 guys you can trust and you know they're going to play every game, we'll be fine. I don't think there's
Rahul,
like
but
much
this
concern.
you go back to this two seasons behind when we had Padikar injured, when we had Will Jacks injured, we didn't have any players to come back. That's my whole point. If you look at other teams, if Mumbai has one player injured, they have good players to come in. The thing is, we don't have any youngsters to come in. Like that's my whole point.
No,
Have we
like
tackled the Tell me if Jitesh Sharma is injured, who is coming in for him as a replacement right now in the squad we built? We don't have a replacement. For example, Salt is not available, let's say, for 2 games. Who's going to open with Virat? We don't have a reliable opener. My whole
no,
point is
you do.
other
You
teams
do.
really do.
You have Devdutt Padikkal who can open the batting. You can play another
That's my
foreigner.
point. We don't have a reliable opener. Like that's my whole point. You can't sit
Bro,
and say
like
we
that,
have a player like Devdutt.
no team has four openers. They're not no. I don't think Mumbai is
Brother,
sitting
like
with
no
four
team, yeah,
top class
exactly. No team is
openers.
is having stacked squad where one
You
person
see, it
goes
is
there
not
like for
about
like
it is
this
not
person
about
coming.
stack. You look at every other team. Are you telling me other teams have not built a good Indian core? Like you can go look at
No, I
our
don't
bowling.
think there's
Fair
any
enough.
issue
I
with
feel like it's good.
RCB's Indian core. Like if the only question mark, I think biggest
But
question
I
for
feel like if
RCB is
Delhi needs to go
Bhuvaneshwar
out,
Kumar.
sorry,
I think the only question that RCB has is Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and how he's going to play. But otherwise, it's a good Indian core, dude. It's Krunal Pandya who's going to be consistent. Virat Kohli who's going to do well. Yash Dayal has done well recently
I,
for
I'm not
India
talking about
and
the
for
starting
for, for
11.
RCB.
Again, I'm not talking about the starting 11. I'm talking about apart from the starting 11. There is so many players who are playing, for India right now, like in the domestic cricket, SMAT, etc. You look at every other team, they went for some amount of Indian players. Can you show me one Indian player right now which we have apart from 11? That's what
That's
I'm
what
trying
I'm
to
saying. So
understand.
if
Bro,
RCB
in a
like
team, like
you
last
need
year, we
one
had so many
extra
players who
option, Ravi.
underperformed.
You
Huh?
need one extra option everywhere. Okay, like I think
But do you
if you want,
realize when you're building a squad, it's just not for this year. We're building for 3 years.
yeah,
We
even if
can
it
we
is for
have the
3 years,
option to
right?
develop players. Dude,
Yeah,
the thing
even
is,
if it is for
if
3 years. Say
so
for
right now,
example, if a
okay.
Bhuvaneshwar Kumar doesn't deliver, or you need an extra bowling option, you have Rasik Dar who
I
has
feel
shown that he
Rasik,
can play.
I feel Rasik Dar can
So
do can
again,
come
you
in and
guys are deflecting the point of batting. I'm literally asking who is the proper
No,
replacement for
if you're
Jitesh
saying,
Sharma.
bro, I don't want. Say you're saying if Jitesh Sharma doesn't like happen, you trust Manoj Bandege to come and play. Like you're saying like if you're saying you want
Manoj
these guys
Banege
to
is a
play,
spinner, Rahul. He's like a proper
if
bowler.
if you like, he's an all rounder, but like
But
that's
he's a bowler. He's literally a bowler. He's
but like
played bowling all
so
this time.
my point is, bro, like you have to trust these kind of players. Like if you're
Rahul, my
saying
point is just for example, today Jitesh Sharma is not available for 3 games, and IPL is a small amount of games. We have only 14 games. My point is who can come in and play. My whole point is we've not built a strong enough core of Indian players where we can go. Okay, if we don't have one player for this game, we can get someone else. That's my point. Last year we had players at least like Anuj Rawat, Lomror, at least players who actually played cricket. I'm not saying these guys are good enough to come in and play. I feel like Rawat plays
Even
had a
for the case for someone like Anuj Rawat who didn't have a good season, you might as well say someone like Devdutt Padikkal also. If you're see, Maipal Lomror is different. I felt Maipal Lomror played like like
exactly
more
that
than
was my
expectation.
point.
Like that is one player. I feel you can like I think every team can say, okay, this one player is gonna like if needed can come in and like he's gonna do a decent job. I don't think a lot of teams have the luxury where okay, an Indian player is injured, we're gonna have like one of our youngsters is for sure gonna come in and consistently perform the same way the player who he substituted is gonna come and play. I don't think teams have like three, four, five options. At best one. Like and then the second option is gonna be, you know what, we're not gonna put pressure on him. If he does anything, well and good. Otherwise, it's not a problem. He was probably our third choice player to play in that slot anyways. I think that is the scenario like for most of the teams this year. Like I can't think of many teams who have
Okay,
like
like can I
two
give you an example? Like just looking at like CSK squad, they have Tripathi. Like I'm saying Indian core, they have Tripathi, Gaikwad, Dhoni, Conway, right? They also have Rachin Ravindra. They have Vijay Shankar. They have players like Vijay Shankar, Anshul Kamboj. They have Deepak Hooda. I'm saying you have options, Rishi. Like you literally have players who are performing well.
If Anshul Kamboj is an option, Adi, like that even I can
Now,
say
my
Swapnil
point
is
is
an
there,
option.
Rahul. The whole point is these guys have played in the IPL. They have some form of
Yes,
that's
Swapnil
what
Singh also has played in the IPL.
brothers. No,
Rahul. My
yes,
point is you could
he
go
may have
and go
played
for a
well
player like
last year.
Mayank Agarwal. Are you telling me that players like Mayank Agarwal is
No,
someone you
I'm
don't
not
have to go
saying
for?
like we couldn't have done better. I'm saying it's not that bad. Like that we're sitting and we're like it's really like being so critical of them. Like I'm
Bro,
not
you
saying
have to when
I
you're
agree
building
with
a
you. I
squad of
agree with you.
25, Rahul.
I
Like,
would have
you're
gone
not
Mayank
only talking about
Agarwal too.
starting 11.
I would have gone Mayank Agarwal too. I agree, but I'm saying like it's not that
But
bad a job that
Mayank
we
Agarwal had
being
quite an
so critical of
underwhelming
them.
season, by the way, last year, despite playing in a high
Bro,
scoring
it my
ground.
whole point is you have to go for depth. Like, every team has gone for some form of depth. Like, you look at KKR, they really didn't have to go for certain players. They went for a place like Rahane. Why? Manish Pandey, why? They just have the option. Like, for me as RCB, if I need an option, I don't have an option. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
talk about. If you
if
have
you're
a
talking about
quality
the most
option, I
box
don't have
player
that.
who is needed to fill a gap, then David Padikkal can come in and do the same job. Like I don't
Rishi, but
think Manish Pandey or Mayank Agarwal is going to come in and do a much better job than David Padikkal. If anything, David Padikkal is much younger. Like if you're
But
saying you just
my
need
point is, I don't even have the option of a Mayank Agarwal now. If I have to, if I'm forced to play Devdutt, I don't have any other options. That's my whole point. Like other
yeah.
teams have options.
So what I'm
Like
trying
it's
to
just
say
a
is David Padikkal had an average or like a very mediocre season last year. But players like Mayank Agarwal, players like Manish Pandey didn't have any better season as well. Like even they had a pretty bang average tournament IPL outings. Like in fact, Mayank Agarwal, if anything, Mayank Agarwal played in the most batting friendly, most like high scoring ground. Despite that, if you're saying, okay, you know what, I might as well have gone for Mayank Agarwal, then Devdutt Padikkal, you can safely bet that Devdutt Padikkal can come in and do the same job because both of them are out of
bro.
sorts.
My
If
point
anything,
is you
Devdutt
could have
Padikkal was
gone for Rishi. My whole point is you could have gone for Mayank Agarwal also. We had
I'm
money
saying, bro,
still
like
left.
you
My whole
want
point
players
is
to
building a
more
deep squad
options.
is important. Look at RCB over the years. Last 2 years, we had batting options. Like for example, my whole point is I don't have the option this year. We had options last year. If, for example, Lomrod didn't work out, we had Rawat. I'm not saying they're going to come and perform. They can perform. They might not perform. The point is, right now, I don't have that option. Like last year, we had Suyash Prabhu Desai. We had Rawat. We had Lomrod. My whole point is we don't have that option this year, which I would like to have. We're building a squad again. We have a squad of 25. We need certain players. If someone's not performing, like even I'm not going to sit and say we have a solid 11. Jitesh Sharma has to perform. What if he's not going to perform? Who's the other guy who can slot in his position and play? Like we don't have like to like replacements. I'm not saying you have to sit and build the best squad. I'm just saying some form of options. We didn't do that. Not only with our batters. I'm again coming to our spinners. Right now, for example, you went with Suyash. If he doesn't perform, who's our other spinner? We really don't have a spinner. Swapnil Singh, I'm sorry, but there were better options there. I really think there were better Indian options like M. Siddharth, Sai Kishore. Like there were better options. If you have the money with like RCB, you can push it. Like that's the whole point. You can't just sit and say Swapnil. I watched Swapnil Singh play last year. he's a decent option. I can't lie, but there are better options. Like they're literally better options who are performing well in the IPL right now. Overall, this with this money we had, we didn't build a deep enough squad. Like that's the sad reality. Apart from our Pacers, I feel like the Pacers we have enough. Like we again, bro, we spent 1 crore on Louis and Gidi, which we didn't need to. We spent 2 crores on like Devdutt, which we could have like 3 crores there. We have another 1 crore left. We had 4 crores. We could have pushed a bit more on certain spinners if we had. Bro, like we use our RTM on Swapnil Singh. Again, I don't want to take anything out of him. Like if you're going into an auction, you can spend that 5 crores on an extra two spinners. Like if you just for the options of having Shreyas Gopal, for the option of having M. Siddharth, for the option of having like Sai Kishore, who are very good bowlers, like why don't you build a proper squad? Like right now, if Surya, for example, Krunal gets injured, I'm not talking about it's going to happen. My point is, if he gets injured, we don't have an option. We don't have a second option. If you're telling Swapnil Singh, can you realize like it's just a huge punt? And if Swapnil Singh and Suyash is playing, who's our third spinner? We don't have a spinner after that. Like it's just very iffy and dicey, like the way they built the squad.
I disagree. I think like just to quickly wrap it up, like Gulshan saying Rajat Patidar at 4, we will see what happens. But I think the whole point is the way they've gone about their spin department is that they know that they're going to get bowling from the top order. They know they're going to get bowling from Livingston. They know if Bethel plays, he's going to give you bowling. They know that if Tim David plays, he's going to give you bowling. So I that's at least how I think they
Bethel is
start.
not a bowler, by the way. Just
Bethel can
letting
bowl
you
left arm orthodox, and
know. But
he can bowl. So
he's
like he
he's
doesn't have
not
to
like
bowl
a
4. Adi, he doesn't have to bowl 4 overs.
Livingston is a consistent, like you can give him
Livingston,
anywhere
bro,
between two to
I
four
can bet
overs.
my life right now. Livingston will give you 2-3 overs every game.
Yeah.
Every
Rahul,
game.
but you're saying with the 5 crores you have, you wouldn't push for a Sai Kishore or a M. Siddharth. Like, are you saying it would have been a waste of money? We had a
My
lot of money.
point
That's my
is,
whole point.
bro, my point is if it is a good spin friendly wicket, then you will play Krunal and Suyash along with Livingston anyways.
Rahul,
If it
I'm
is
not
not,
talking about,
wait,
but you realize I'm
listen to
not
me.
talking about the spin options. I'm
If it
talking
is
about
not a spin friendly wicket, Adi, just one sec, hear me out. If it's not a spin friendly wicket, they will play only Krunal. Livingston is your second choice, and you play 4 seamers. You don't
Rahul, but
need
do you
another
try to
right.
understand that I'm not talking about a starting 11. I feel like we have a very good starting 11. I'm talking about the 13th, 14th, 15th player. Like, that's where my issue is. I just don't think we built enough Indian core. Like, I'm sorry if you can
Mm.
read the names out of there and say this Indian core is very strong compared to the previous years. I just don't believe it. Like, at least we
Bro,
are.
it's not
I
the
feel like
biggest
having options.
squad. It is not the biggest squad. I agree. Like, but I think
That's
it
my.
is a
I'm
good.
criticizing RCB in
Yeah,
that sense. I'm talking
but
about if you have a purse of 5 crores, are you saying spending money on Sai Kishore or on an M Siddharth is a waste? Like I don't think even with Shreyas Gopal, if he went for his base price, I think if you could have just got him as an option, like my point is just keep him in the
mm,
squad. Like it does help you. Like there is no harm in building a squad where it can actually help you. And again, he's a guy who's from Karnataka. That also helps. Like that's my whole point. That's it.
yeah, we just moved to Gujarat. We haven't discussed Gujarat at all. So Shubman Gill, Josh Butler, Kumar Kushagra, Anuj Rawat, Sherfane Rutherford, Glenn Phillips. Okay, Nishant Sandhu, Mahipal Lomror, Washington Sundar, Jalal Kudzea, Arshad Khan, Kareem Jannat, Sai Sudarshan, Shahrukh Khan. Then the bowlers, Kagiso Rabada, Mohammad Siraj, Prasidh Krishna, Manav Sutar. Oh, this is looking like a solid team by the way. Gurnur Singh Brar. Then you've got Sai Kishore, Ishan Sharma, Jayant Yadav, Kulwant Khejrolia, Rahul Tewatia, and Rashid Khan. That bowling is something. Like it is something. Um, Again, just in terms of quickly, like the guys who will play, Shubman Gill is going to open with Joss Butler. It's almost uh like it's undoubted. And you're looking at Sai
One
Sudarshan like
down
number
is Sai
three.
Sudarshan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a given as well. And apart from that, the bowlers who are going to play are going to play. Rashid Khan is going to play. Rahul Tewatia is of course going to play for them.
Rabada is going to play. Siraj is going to play.
Rabada is going to play. Siraj is going to play. That's
One of
what
Sai Kishore or Jayant Yadav will play.
I really think. You might just say Manav Sutar might just play, bro.
Over Sai Kishore and Jayant Yadav.
I don't know, man. Like I don't know what it is, but like he just looks like very, very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Like it'll be interesting to see
They have
what
Washington
happens.
Sundar also. Keep in mind.
Yeah, they've got a stacked squad. Like, and I think especially in the bowling department, they look quite good.
But
Um,
like, are you confident with their middle order batting? Because I, for one, am not. Like, okay, you have Gill, you have Butler, Sai Sudarshan also, but after that, it's all a bit like Shah Rukh Khan on his day can be very good, but how
no,
consistent is
I think they have to play Sherfin and Rutherford. Like this is one team that he needs to play because if they want an explosive left-handed option through the middle, it's him. And having watched Sherfin
over
and
Glenn
Rutherford,
Phillips?
I think
Shafin
over
Rutherford
Glenn
over
Phillips.
Glenn Phillips.
Bro, Glenn Phillips, very low on confidence. Has done poorly for New Zealand. Didn't get games
Mhm.
last year for SRH. Sherfin Rutherford, on the other hand, is coming off of brilliant performance for West Indies. Very flowy batsman. I think he'll do well if he's given a chance. If you can say like Sherfin Rutherford, then you have Shah Rukh Khan and Rahul Tewatia. That's a solid top six. And Rashid Khan can bat, bro. Today's Rashid Khan is
Yeah, that's true.
dangerous. Like I think with the bat. So if you just look at that team and if you have a couple of Indian options, like you can go to Mahipal Lombe if you want that extra option, if you don't think Shah Rukh Khan is working, or if you want just another impact sub or an extra option, something like that. You've got guys to turn to here. I think they'll do well. I think it's different from the Gujarat Titans teams that we've seen in the previous years, where it felt like it was a little undercooked, but this time it looks like there is a lot going on for these guys. I think Prashit Krishna is also going to play. They've got some really good. The fast bowling unit is sorted in Rabada, Siraj, and Krishna, and then you've got
Their
the
spin is also
spinners.
sorted.
Well, they've got so many options. Washington Sundar, of course, going to play. You're expecting Rashid Khan to play.
Washington Sundar, Rashid Khan, Sai Kishore, Jayant Yadav, Manav
Yeah,
Sutar. Rahul
it's
Tewatia can come in and offer if needed.
yeah,
I don't think it'll be needed, but okay.
yeah, it's a crazy team. You guys think that they're going to do well? They're going to do pretty well this IPL. You think they'll be like
Like, to
easily
be
playoff?
to be honest, like I feel they are lacking that explosive batting because although I feel like Sai Sudarshan did play well, he's someone who takes a little bit more time. He's not going to go overly aggressive, and same thing with Shubman Gill. He's not the most explosive batter, and there's going to be a lot of like dependency on Josh Butler to come in and like maintain the run rate going. So if he falls early, I don't see where that quick succession of runs is going to come. Like I feel Shah Rukh Khan also. I just don't think that's reliable enough. So I feel they have a lot of batters who can stick around and like rotate strike and score runs at a decent pace. I just don't know who's going to come in and accelerate, like give them that boost. It has to be like, of course, like you mentioned, it has to be Shafin Rutherford.
It
But
has to be
other
him,
than
bro.
that,
There's nobody else.
like other than that, probably their next best bet is going to be maybe Maipal Romlor because I saw that him do that for RCB a lot last year. He came in and played some beautiful shots. Like nobody had any expectations. He like on like in him and he just came in and played a couple of really handy innings. So I feel that like if not for Rutherford, that has to be Lomro. So the jump is quite a bit. So other than that, that area like explosive batting, I think they're sorted everywhere.
I think they're looking at David Rutherford to do that job for them, almost like play the David Miller role. And in terms of styles of batting, they're quite similar. They've got beautiful flow of the bat, like both Miller and Rutherford. I think Rutherford, just to watch him play, is one of the most like aesthetic lefties you'll see today. At least reminds me a lot of David Miller. Actually, I think weirdly, if it kind of fitting that he plays that role instead of somebody like a Glenn Phillips. I don't trust him. But Adi, what do you think on Gujarat? Do you think they'll do well this year?
Again, Shofan Rutherford is someone I would have liked RCB to go for over Tim David. But the problem with them is I
Yeah.
feel like, dude, I just don't know about this team. I feel like, again, it's similarly built like the way they built in what 2021, 2022, whenever they first came in. I think they have a lot of underrated players and they have a deep squad. I feel like that's what I was just trying to say. Like they have options all over the place, right? Like even if you don't have Shah Rukh Khan performing, you can put in Lomror. You have other players like Tewatia, Rashid Khan who can also give score runs off the bat. And I think overall they have very good bowling depth. Like with the spinners, they're going to play in Ahmedabad. They would likely go with three spinners overall. I would think so, and their pace is also, I think, they upgraded over who they had last year. They didn't have Shami last year, but getting Siraj in that ground is helpful because it's a huge ground. And it is a ground that could favor Siraj better than Chinnaswamy. I feel like that's something good that happened for him, even though he's been released by RCB. Going to a place like Ahmedabad, playing most of your cricket there is something that would help him. And I think the same with Rabat. I think that's a pitch which would help him. And again, having such a huge pitch, it's going to be tough for opposition maybe to score a lot of runs. So I feel like if GT are able to maybe ball first and limit the opponents to a low scoring target, I feel like then they can play it out well, because if you have Gill and Butler opening, there can go games where like these two can chase a big target if they need to, because both of them can stay in the crease for a long time if it's needed, and it's not easy to get them two out. So I feel like going and investing a lot in Butler, that helps them, just for the sake of, I might have a weaker middle order, but when my top three is pretty solid and they're players who can actually play the entire game if it's needed, for example, I think there itself, like, you're taking a lot of pressure out of the batsman. And then I feel like players like Lomiror can come in and, do the finishing role if it's needed. I think, for example, if you're playing Washington and Sudhir, I think he can also bat if it's needed. Again, you have Shah Rukh Khan, you have your Tebatia. So I think they're very stacked in that sense. And yeah, I mean, it's a weird squad because, again, I feel like if they don't hit, it's going to be tough for them, because players like Prasidh Krishna, Siraj, on their day, if they're not bowling well, it's a team that can get smacked for a lot of runs. I feel like that's one thing. But again, like, can't say much about, like, they don't have the experience overall. I feel like looking at other teams, even though GT overall you can say they have good depth, I don't think they have good international experience to say, they're like an X Factor team also.
If I was a Gujarat fan, I'd be excited looking at this squad. Like I'd be
I
intrigued to see
wouldn't,
what.
bro. Like, please. Like, apart from, bro, the thing is with Butler, like, even though I would love to have him, with the Ahmedabad pitch, it's like you would rather back bowlers than over batsmen. Like, that's my whole point. And if I was like a GT fan, I would just rather have big names to be just have the vibe and all this thing, bro. Like,
But at the same time, like if you had to go for a foreign batter who can consistently score in like not the easiest of tracks, who else would you go for? Like because I feel like amongst the options that they had, like Josh Butler is one of those players who can play in like pitches that are not that great also, because we've seen him play well in Rajasthan pitches. It's not, I'm not saying Rajasthan is that bad, but it's not like your Delhi, like your Hyderabad pitches, like your Bangalore, traditional Bangalore pitches. Like I feel like, of course, like it's not going to be as easy for Josh Butler, but it's just amongst the options, who else did they have? Like reliable batter who can score runs in a consistent rate, but even if it's not the like easiest pitches to bat on, I think that's
I
why
feel
Josh
like
Butler.
over the years, I don't think they've really needed it though. Like, you look at Virtham and Shah, I feel like if you have Gill there, you can go for maybe a lower tier player in the opening. For me, I feel like if they had kept Shami with Rabada, or if they went for a player like Stark, I feel like, me personally, I would have done that. I would have just pushed for a player like Stark, Hazelwood with Shami. I still think RTMing Shami for 10 crores is a better value pick. In Ahmedabad, you know how he's going to play in the beginning, first 2 overs, first 3 overs. And I still would have pushed for keeping someone like Noor Ahmed. Because just for the
Yeah,
fact that I think, again, like, I feel like overall, if you're GT, with the amount of games you're going to play in Ahmedabad, I think you have to have the players who play there already. And I feel like having Shami Stark last year performed like, bro, he was crazy. Again, the way he bowled against India in the World Cup, he was pretty consistent. Hazelwood was very good on that pitch. And Stark in the playoffs was extremely good in that pitch. So I feel like getting that left arm seamer like Stark, which with Shami, I feel like I would have been scared of their bowling lineup if they had Stark and Shami. I feel like a lot of teams, dude, that's the thing. I feel like the sad part for Shami is he ended up going to Hyderabad out of all the teams there. Because I feel like even if he came to the Chinnaswamy Stadium, I think it would have been you would have been able to get the best out of Shami in T20. I feel like going to Hyderabad, I don't think it's a baller's pitch at all. I don't think I feel like the best ballers are going to look bad there. Like we saw even with Bumrah last year, he looked pretty bad there. Like you can't do anything in that pitch. And I feel like if you just kept Shami and used a bit more overall, I think it would have been a scarier squad.
Yeah, just want to leave one thing before. Just want to say one thing before leaving Gujarat and Gujarat fans. You have 5 foreigners. That's it in the entire team. So you could see Gujarat just rocking up with 3 foreigners for a couple of games. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, that's us, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and share the video. Subscribe to Sports Kabri. See you soon. Bye bye.